cider and a switch night. Ride at the dawn on his motorbike. Looking for legends on the Sunset Strip with a stone cold paranormal partnership. That's what Town Rick tried to sell me some crack. Listen to the podcast, man, and take that shit back. It's Urban Legends, the podcast about urban legends. And here your host, Neil and Chris. You'll receive our pod in your ears tonight. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Urban Legend, the internet's largest urban legends podcast by volume. I am one of your hosts, Chris Flynn, and with me, as always, is my assistant, Mr.
Neil Herbert. Not sure I'm liking the assistant bit, Chris, but there we go.
Well, that's fine. Work a bit harder and you can move up in the company. That's fine, isn't it? And then, Neil, like you can see here, I've got a drink, a nice clear drink.
Yeah.
It was payday recently, so I am drinking
some water.
Well, it is. So I've got some fizzy water there, yeah.
Nice.
And I've got a ginger and hint of lemongrass squash in there.
Well, there you go.
Very nice.
How's that?
It's nice. You know what? What I like about it is ginger gives you that little kick at the back of the throat,
kick, yeah.
which I've missed since I stopped drinking whiskey by the bottle. Yeah. I realise what I miss most about it is the kick at the back of the throat. Well, that and blocking out traumatic memories, but you know,
yeah,
those two things. But yeah,
that's what Rufus and Tabasco sauce are for.
Never go to Neil's chili shop.
No.
I'll tell you what, now I let my cats have a listen to last week's episode about Cat She, and they have been fucking lording it up.
No, I imagine.
Yeah, I kind of kept them away from legendary cat stuff, but yeah, I mean, I'd say I was kind of third in the pecking order anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even more so now. Like, I'm not allowed to sleep in my own bedroom.
No.
I have to sleep in the hallway.
Yeah.
I eat the cat food now, and I make them roast dinners every night.
Absolutely.
That kind of stuff. So I don't know, let us know if you had a similar experience at Legends of Pain.
Cat owners, yeah.
Or whatever. So Neil, I've been working in the background, moving and shaking behind the guy. As your self-appointed agent.
Yeah.
And so I am quite advanced in talks, so I can now bring it to you with GB News to get you in as the science guy.
Okay, yeah.
You know a bit about, you've got the credentials. Just so if people aren't in the UK, what GB News is so basically all the American really right-wing people and stuff, like who use Fox News and all that, they're now like spending loads of money in the UK to try and get us to where America is, and it's not really working. But I mean, they've got a news channel called GB News, which is a bit like Fox News, basically right-wing propaganda and untruths and stuff, and it's kind of
that's a bastion of free speech, Chris.
It's kind of but it shouldn't call itself a news channel. So it's kind of like under the spotlight a bit at the moment because it probably is illegal according to.
It's the home of Nigel Farage's Talking Pints.
Talking Pints.
I believe Jacob Rees-Mogg has a show on there.
What's it called? Mog chat.
Yeah.
Mogologs. That's what he calls it. Jacob's Mogologs instead of monologues. Fuck me.
No
but anyway, so they need a science guy who, let's just say, is willing to
maybe skeptical about climate change.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So no, so I'm going to do a little. I'm going to ask you a question.
97% of climate scientists agree. Hardly a consensus. let me constantly get the 3% who disagree on.
So
Fair and balanced.
I'm going to ask you maybe two questions, and if you could just respond how you would do
Yeah.
if you're on GB News. So I'll throw over to you, okay, as if I'm like the presenter. And recent reports coming out of America have suggested that the new vaccine actually contains chemicals in it, which mean that white parents have ethnically diverse children. To discuss that in the studio, we have our science correspondent, Neil Herbert. So, Neil, what do you think of these reports?
Well, I think, what's really interesting is there's a surprising lack of research into this subject. So you have to ask yourself what they're covering up.
So you think that that's on purpose? You think that?
Well, I can only state the facts, Chris. Sorry if they upset, some of the woke blob. The facts are there has been no research into this area. Now, some might say it's because it's complete nonsense and there's no point funding it. But given up.
What's happened there, Neil, is you've given yourself away.
Yeah.
So
I've got to work on that, haven't I?
So let's try something else. So some people say it's just condensation coming out of the jet engines as the air cools around them. But some people say we've been sprayed by chemicals from government aeroplanes for many years, causing all kinds of health effects. Neil, what's your thinking on the chemtrails?
Well, it's certainly an area that we need more research into. Again, it's. You'd look at all of the mindless sheep walking around these days.
So would you think that the chemicals that they're spraying are making people less curious, maybe complicit in the left-wing agenda?
It certainly seems to be the case, doesn't it?
Okay.
I don't think I'm natural for GB News.
I think we're going to have to work on it. Maybe
I'm not. See, the problem with these kind of things, you want somebody a bit more didactic, somebody who actually is not. If they want somebody really apathetic, I can definitely do them a number there.
That's true.
Getting stridently angry about things. I just don't care enough.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have neither highs nor lows, do you?
No, it's not bothered.
Calm waters run deep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't say that was a complete success.
I wouldn't be very good. Well, because the thing is, people who sell out for money, and you think it's easy, but no.
But Neil, were you thinking about £1 million when you were doing that?
No, I need to motivate myself. Yeah,
that's it. You've got to think about the money as you do it.
Prize.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're just doing it, playing a role, you're not going to get anywhere. Whereas what you really need to do is think: if I do this well, I get £1 million.
I'll study some more Lawrence Fox videos.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'll try and get that madness. He's quite good at coming out with absolute bullshit.
Yeah. So, Neil, is there anything that you've noticed this week that you want to talk about?
Let's have a look at what's going on in that. Well, actually, not current affairs per se, but
your football team's playing in a bit. That's good for you, isn't it?
There's a bit of football. There's the Rugby World Cup.
Ireland are looking really good.
Ireland's doing all right, actually. They beat South Africa and
smashed Scotland last night.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to play, I think, New Zealand in the quarters.
Who they've beaten in New Zealand this year.
Who they have, yeah. So but tricky.
It'd be amazing if Ireland win a World Cup in something.
Yeah, I don't kind of even want to say it at the moment because it would be extremely good if they won. Yes, it'd be a hell of a, and it'd be
all the rest of the plastic paddies will be out.
Yeah, that'll be. No, I'd like to see them win. To be honest with you, they are world number one and all the rest of it. But there's winning the World Cup would be a hell of a thing. Yeah, especially quite a small nation like Ireland. It's you'd like to see it, but long way to go. So there you go. There's the thing.
There's something. Like. So Neil, I don't know if you like me sometimes watch the news. And you get the vox pops on it, and it's like someone in some small town. and they come out with some sort of.
What do you think about?
Yeah, what do you think about? And they come out with
1960s brutalist architecture. I'm not really bothered. That'd be our response.
No, they normally ask about Brexit or something, and they come out with some sort of ill-informed sort of nonsense because
let's not be throwing around those kind of stones, Chris, in our little glass house.
I fucking will. And sometimes I think, do you know what? I wish this town would just disappear.
Which town are we talking about?
Just a town.
Yeah.
But Neil, did you know that once possibly a town actually did disappear, and that's what we're going to be looking at today?
Oh, I see what you've done there.
That was good, wasn't it? Nice.
I wasn't expecting the twist. I thought it was just added.
Yeah, because you don't know what this is about. So we're going to be looking at Lake Anjikuni. No, that's not how you spell it. Anjikuni. How an entire...
Japan again?
No.
Okay.
No, it's in northern Canada.
Because there was
big friendly Scotland.
Oh, lovely. I like that. No, because there was. I mean, I've heard of like cities disappearing, not cities. Villages disappearing. Like there was a famous in Wales. They decided that Liverpool needed a reservoir. So it's like, you can move out of your house.
It's not. Yeah, so it's not.
But it's literally disappeared like overnight.
It's not a village that's disappeared due to infrastructure.
Infrastructure reasons. Yeah.
What was the one we did? There was one in India as well.
Oh, Kuldahar, was it?
Yeah, Kuldahar. That's
something like that. Yeah.
Kuldara.
Or Kuldara. Okay, yeah.
So, Lake Anjikuni. How did an entire village disappear?
Mm.
And so this is from the website Historic Mysteries, and it's written by Bipin Dimri on April 1st, 2022.
Yes.
So I'm just going to give...
was this a real place, or was this like Atlantis?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably,
yeah.
Neil, the story unfolds.
Well, we'll find out. So
I'm going to quickly give you the little story card from Unsolved Mysteries fandom. The location is Lake Anjikuni, which is in Nunavut, Canada, and the date of this is 1930, when you were just starting your masters.
Yeah.
Description. Anjikuni Lake is one of several lakes located along the Kazan River in a Kivalliq region of Nunavut, Canada. Nunavut, sorry. The lake shore is notable for rocky outcroppings of the Precambrian Shield.
I imagine a lot of Canada is kind of like just lakes and rocky outcroppings. That's what kind of thing. Other than the big kind of urban centres.
Yeah, have you seen that line where they go like 90% of Canadians live below this line, and it's actually like lower than the US border with Canada or whatever, because they like all live in Toronto and all that kind of stuff. So, being part of the Hearn Domain, Western Churchill Province of the Churchill Craton, caribou migrate through the area, and the lake contains trout, pike, and Arctic grayling.
Sounds idyllic.
Yeah, but
it's probably a bit cold.
If a bit chilly.
Yeah.
If a little bit chilly. So
what you want is a nice kind of like what do they call it?
Cabin?
No, the Gulf Stream, whatever they call it, the that warms up the
the Gulf Stream.
Yeah. There's another name for it, but I forget.
The North Atlantic Conveyor.
Something.
There's another name for it. Oh, look at me. So, in the far north of Canada...
climate change will do that for us.
It'll be fun.
Canada up to an acceptable level, then we can all move there.
Destroy that.
Increasingly less friendly populace. Hey, we fucked up our part of the world. Coming up here, yeah? You can grow wine now, yeah? We like that.
Yeah. Like we've previously...
New California.
It's like we previously discussed the Hudson Bay holiday resort that we're looking for investment for.
We'll go and live in Maine.
If we start building now, then by the time it's finished, it's going to be like
Snap
the Med.
It all up nice and cheap.
Yeah, Hudson Bay will be like Lake Titicaca.
Nice. That's what you always wanted, isn't it? Hordes of British holidaymakers coming on and having pie and chips in you.
Yeah, watching Only Fools and Horses. Yeah. Having a roast dinner at lunch in 40-degree heat.
Beautiful.
Lovely. They're not even good roast dinners.
Depressing things I saw when I was in Spain one time. It was like some shop saying, we sell genuine pucker pies. It's like, how is that a selling point?
Yeah, probably just
a generic knockoff pie that you buy in British fish and chip shops, basically.
Yeah,
fine. I'll eat a pucker
pie. What you've got to remember about, and I think that this has changed very much with, it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
But people of the boomer generation, they wanted to go and sit near the sea in the sun, but so that was
for a month.
They did, but they didn't trust foreign food, and a major thing was the fact that booze was cheaper. So they just want to go and sit in the sun and sort of drink and eat food that they could get back. Well, that they could get back home, but worse. Right?
Yes. Yeah, so, it wouldn't have been authentic.
No.
I think we've become a lot more open-minded since the 90s, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Been a big push for diversity in food and whatnot.
Oh, and what food do you get in this country?
Yeah, I mean, there's always been sort of like...
But we live in a culinary melting pot of a town. Like, you can get any food here.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much if you're in... I'm not going to name a town. Actually, it doesn't matter. Maybe not if you're in Peterborough.
I don't. Anywhere you go is going to have like a reasonable variety of,
But would there be a reasonable variety in the far north of Canada? Lake Anjikuni can be an inhospitable place.
Oh, maybe not then. Who knows?
Yeah. Can't get
what demographics are like.
Can't get your Sudanese food there. Covered with snow and ice for half the year, the lake forms part of a string of waterways which local Inuit used to sustain their communities through fishing and trade.
Nice.
Several villages existed along the shores of the lakes, home to the Inuit and a welcome resting point for the fur trappers, who brayed the far north to hunt beaver and caribou. Used to fucking slaughter beavers by the billions, wouldn't we? To make hats.
Make a lovely beaver skin hat. That'll keep you nice and warm in the toasty mountain, or the cold mountains.
Well, but they were just like the pelt was sold back to Europe for fashion stuff.
Probably that as well, yeah. Well, so all the trooping and the colour and all that, they all have beaver skin. Oh no, it's
bear skin hats. Just meant to be. It's not anymore, but they're called that. But something happened to one of the villages in 1930, which means a mystery to this day.
Ooh. Is this town just going to be a load of igloos that melted? Inuit.
No. They have wooden buildings.
I'm sure they do. Mind you, it wouldn't be that cold up in Canada, would it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's cold enough for igloos.
Cold enough for, you could build an igloo, but you wouldn't necessarily live in one, would you? It's not
igloos are more high. Igloos you use them when you're hunting on the...
Yeah, I'm saying you'd build an igloo only if you were out in like complete snow, wouldn't you? Like if everyone was covered in snow.
If you're hunting on like the ice shelves or whatever, then you would build that as kind of your hunter's cabin for the night. It's like they're not, you don't live there full time. So a news reporter in The Pas, Manitoba, reported about a small Inuit community off the coast of Lake Anjikuni in 1930. Joe LaBelle, a well-known fur trapper in the community, was passing through the area when he stopped at a village, only to discover that all the people had left. It's like a Mary Celeste deal. According to the story, Joe LaBelle discovered an empty camp with 6 tents, but of the 25 men, women and children who lived there was no sign.
So if it was only 25, then they could well have died of disease. Yes. It's in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Just pre-antibiotics.
Or they could have just moved on.
They could have moved on, yeah. I mean, it's not that many, is it? It's like 2 families, basically. Or one very large family.
One Irish family.
Yeah.
The story has been retold many times, and many theories have been put forward to explain the disappearances.
I mean, actually, it's less than there would have been on the Mary Celeste.
All right. Why are you always going on about the Mary Celeste?
No, you
Turns
mentioned
out
it
it was
earlier.
nonsense.
And
I never mentioned it.
Yeah, you did. You mentioned
I think sometimes you hear what you want to hear.
Literally 30 seconds ago. Well,
I literally didn't say that.
This is being recorded.
Yeah, we'll go back and listen. I didn't mention it.
Okay.
So, many theories have been put forward to explain disappearances from the plausible to the outlandish. What happened to the small Inuit community out there in the freezing north of Canada? So, the village that vanished. Joe LaBelle, a Canadian fur trapper, was wandering near Anjikuni Lake in the Northwest Territories of Canada on a freeze.
There a lake? It'll be the Frosty Boys that we spoke about a few weeks back.
The Frosty Boys?
You know, they turn up and show you a dead body of your wife, and then you go home and find out she's died or something.
Oh, the Platte River Ghost Ship.
Platte River Ghost Boys, yeah.
Or it could be the Kushtaka, the sexy, shape-shifting were otters or whatever they are.
Yeah, something like that. All blends into one after a while.
Oh, yeah. That's not our fault. It's the storyteller's fault.
Yeah.
He was wandering near Anjikuni Lake in the Northwest Territories of Canada on a freezing November day in 1930. He entered the village in search of lodging after learning of an Inuit settlement nearby, only to find it utterly deserted. Whatever had happened had taken the villagers completely unawares. During his search, he discovered incomplete garments with needles still in them, as well as food hung over fire pits, but no traces of violence or conflict that would have explained the people's absence.
See, now this is quite like the Mary Celeste, and it's although, yeah, that was all turned out to be a load of bollocks. So I'm wondering if it's a similar Arthur Conan Doyle type thing where somebody wrote this up.
Maybe.
True. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out, I guess. Moving through the village, LaBelle found 7 sled dogs still tied to their post. They had starved to death.
Ooh.
These dogs would have been vital to the survival of the community, and to leave them behind would have been almost unthinkable.
Well, that beggars belief.
What are they doing?
So all the people have disappeared, is this right? So there's a kettle that's still on the go, still on the blower.
Something like that.
There's a phone ringing.
Yep, phone ringing. Yeah. TV still on.
There's a still warm pot noodle.
Yeah, there's someone's playing FIFA. It's just on pause.
Yeah. But nobody to be found.
Yeah, there's a Breville sandwich toaster with a burnt Breville sandwich.
The thing is, back in the 1930s, a PS4 would have been extremely advanced equipment. So
it would have been. Yeah, you would have needed that. You wouldn't have left it. No, yeah. It'd be very valuable. Would have cost you quite a lot of otter pelts.
Yeah,
or beaver pelts, whatever. But then, on the edge of the village, LaBelle found something even more chilling.
Ooh.
A human grave had been recently dug up.
Zombie.
Because the
zombie attack.
Because the stones encircling the burial were undisturbed, LaBelle recognised it wouldn't have been an animal. A human had done this.
Are you the real monsters, Chris? As ever.
So they've gone, right, we've got to leave. Like, let's dig up
Grandma.
Uncle Frankie.
Take it with us.
Yeah.
And over the shoulder. Still on that.
We're not going to take off dogs.
Putrid bits. Yeah.
He informed the Northwest Mounted Police, the Mounties, who launched an investigation into disappearances, but no one from the village was ever located. It was as if they had vanished into thin air.
Wondering how rigorous an investigation the Mounties did.
Not very.
Yeah.
So, what do you reckon's happened so far? Before we go into some more of the possible explanations.
Okay, so they've left their dogs behind, but they definitely would want to travel with those.
But they've left their dogs behind, but they've taken the corpse.
What
does that tell us about their mindset?
I think they're disoriented. I think they've had some bad hooch. They're all tripping off there, and they've dug up Grandma, and then
what?
One of them pretend they're a dog and has pulled on the sled and has pulling everyone else along.
You reckon that's what's happened?
Yeah.
Okay. It's as good a theory as any, Neil.
It's not, is it? It's clearly the worst theory you could have come up with. But hey.
You haven't seen some of these.
Okay, fair enough.
An unexplained mystery. This unsolved mystery.
Can't make bricks without straw, Chris. There's not enough data here. It's just an open grave and some missing things.
And some left things.
Yeah.
This unsolved, and like a crossword that, hadn't been quite finished.
Yeah.
They've written in half a word. Yeah. The unsolved mystery has attracted many investigations over the years. Brian Dunning of the Skeptoid website investigated the instance and tracked it back to traced it back to the original newspaper article written by Emmett Keller on November 29th, 1930. He pointed out, he is from the Skeptoid website.
Yeah.
He pointed out various discrepancies in the original tale, such as the fact that the missing Inuit kayaks would not have been battered by wave action if the lake was frozen at that time. It's quite a little thing, sort of picking around the edges. He also highlighted that in succeeding retellings, the village's alleged population grew larger and other details were inflated. Later stories added even more unlikely details.
This is what happens, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's telephone
It's embellished
game.
in the telling of the tale.
Nigel Blundell and Roger Ball's book, World's Greatest UFO Mysteries, talks of these trappers who saw a UFO in the vicinity, along with gross exaggerations such as 1,000 people missing and a whole graveyard full of exhumed bodies.
Yeah, so you see 1,000, that's a real mystery. I think it's sort of like, if we're talking, like a dozen or something. Mind you, leaving the dogs behind, that's weird.
It is, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
It is, isn't it?
Maybe they'd all died in the cold.
But why would their bodies not be there? Oh,
Don't know.
What do you mean the dogs had died?
No, the dogs had died. They got out and realised the dogs had died. They're like, we'll have to go somewhere else.
Let's get out of here. Well, we're done for animal cruelty. So the police team eventually determined that the Inuit had been missing for about 8 weeks before LaBelle arrived. They never found out why the entire village had evacuated the area. As if the story wasn't bizarre enough, while examining the incident, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers reported seeing mysterious pulsing lights in the sky over Lake Anjikuni. Pulsing lights now?
Yeah. UFOs, they didn't need huskies, but they wanted some people. Yeah.
They went to a rave.
Oh yeah, probably, yeah. This was the 87 then, yeah.
So 1930s. That's when Electro Swing came out.
Yeah, that's when they opened the Hacienda, wasn't it?
Yes, and the song Dupe hit the charts.
Yeah.
Lights in the sky of northern Canada are not unusual. The northern lights are a stunning natural phenomenon that can be seen from even the farthest reaches. Yeah, of course you can.
Well, you can see them in northern England, supposedly.
Sometimes.
These days, a couple of times on it last year, I think.
Yeah, you can
become apparent.
I mean, it's anywhere because that's where
it's just atmospheric conditions.
Well, it's where the sun's bits hit the magnetic.
Off of hit
the magnetic shield, which Neil would be fucked without because the cosmic rays would smash us.
Wouldn't be very good for the DNA.
Wouldn't be good for the DNA at all, would it? All them free radicals.
Oh.
I don't know if that's the same thing. The northern lights are a stunning natural phenomena that can be seen from even the
sun now. Dun, 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 dun. They won't call free radicals. New radicals.
Oh, new radicals. I was thinking of the Fine Young Cannibals for some reason.
Oh, okay.
The northern lights are a stunning natural phenomena that can be seen from even the farthest reaches of the country. but the lights this search and rescue personnel discovered were nothing like the natural beauty they were used to viewing. I mean, there could be all kinds of things, couldn't it? It could have been like a particularly active solar event. Could have been like bits of meteor or something.
It could be, it could be lots of things, but I'm not sure how the
Hollywood party.
To Hollywood party.
Well, no, I mean, what they're saying is
ghosts.
We've come to this place where these people have disappeared and there's a weird phenomena going on. Right, that's how it's related. And we haven't seen it, and we're the Royal Mounted Police, so we hang around here quite a lot.
Yeah.
That's the relation now.
I mean, alien activity or possibly parallel universe.
Yeah, or paranormal activity.
Mm-hmm.
So, unlike the Northern Lights, the lights they observed on the horizon were bluish and pulsing. So it's probably just police.
Yeah, look, it's your own car. Look.
The lights, like the rest of the enclosure, were never explained, nor was any link to the missing villagers established. However, various ufologists speculated in the late 20th century, they love speculating, that the residents of this village may have been the unwitting victims of one of history's largest extraterrestrial abductions.
That's bad, isn't it? Do they normally put them back there?
We only want you to love us, human. Come beyond the moon. Despite the fact that the evidence supporting this idea is anecdotal at best, the assumption is both intriguing and terrifying. Could aliens have taken an entire village? It would explain their sudden disappearance and the failure of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to find any trace.
You can't dust for alien.
Can't dust for alien.
Yeah.
Can't dust for
alien. Would they
alien.
even have fingerprints? Who knows? Would they even have fingers, Chris?
Would they call them fingers?
Tentacles? Well, probably not. Probably wouldn't speak English.
Probably wouldn't speak English, would they? So how would you find out?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
I mean, we can't even speak to dolphins. How the fuck are we going to talk to aliens? Do you know what I mean?
That's what people forget. Misunderstanding.
It will always be a misunderstanding.
That's why we need more nukes.
It's why we need to invest heavily in more nukes and space defences, space lasers, something like that.
I just realised we shouldn't use them against one another. They should be for the terrifying threat.
Oh, you mean test them against one another?
Oh, yeah.
Well, apparently that's like nuclear stuff is what the UFOs are kind of always like hanging around and shutting off and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? I saw, I'm going to do probably an episode of this, but there's there was loads, you know, the
History Channel again.
No, I think this one was on Netflix.
Okay.
But there was, after the Fukushima nuclear disaster.
Yeah.
And there's really good, I'm surprised I haven't seen it before, there's really good video. And there is loads of fucking weird lights and stuff in the sky. Over the area and stuff. Yeah. So, don't know, could be a natural phenomenon that we don't know about, or, I don't know. But it's weird. There's what after and I don't I've not looked into the veracity of this, but they were saying in this thing that this docu-series that after when Chernobyl reactor 4 went when there was the big fire there, the radiation levels were off the charts, 700 whatever bits per millisecond. I don't know. But they saw UFOs, they saw lights in the sky, and then really quickly it went really back to kind of a reasonable level. It's almost they'd kind of fucked around, whatever the lights had fucked around with the radiation and made it more survivable. So I don't know. It's interesting that they always kind of seem to hang around the UFO. The UFOs always hang around the whatever UFOs or whatever. Let's just call them unidentified lads. Yeah, they always hang around kind of the atomic shit. I don't know. Maybe we punched some kind of hole into. Maybe we knocked on the door of another dimension, Neil. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how interdimensional nuclear stuff is. Do you?
I haven't done the research.
There you go. See, there we go. I struggle. Like I'm fairly au fait with science stuff. I struggle with interdimensional stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, not an expert.
Once you get over fourth, then that's me. That's me done. What do they reckon now? They've upped it to about 15.
Should have stopped at 3, in my opinion.
I think the thing is, like, by definition, like, we're not really built to comprehend it.
Well, no.
So another perspective, Neil. Of course, skeptics will look for a more down-to-earth explanation for the disappearance of the villagers. Starting, like they would, the shits, with questioning the original story.
Believable theories. Idiots.
LaBelle claimed to have been a seasoned trapper who knew the region well, but records shown that he had never taken out a hunting license before 1930.
No, I just didn't want the paperwork. Didn't need the headache.
That's it. Or
it's a bit of, it's a little bit weird, a little bit woo.
Or did it with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Proper trapper.
Yeah. Didn't need a piece of paper to be a trapper. That's what my granddad always said.
Did he?
I'm imagining that's what this guy would say.
Right.
Comes from a long line of trappers.
So Kelleher, the journalist who broke the story, has been accused of exaggeration in his writings before. And one of the pictures used in his article was proven to be decades old. That's a stock photo. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Based on these
questions.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an old woodcut.
Take everything so literally.
Trying to put a story together here. Based on these questions and a lack of proof as to the village, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police dismissed the story as fabricated in 1931 and closed the case. Or, what are they hiding?
Yeah, exactly. They just knew it's best you don't get too involved. Cover it up and move on.
And just like that, the villagers disappeared for a second time. First their homes and then the history books.
Ooh.
The evidence for it being a fabrication is only circumstantial, and no doubt welcomed by the investigating authorities as a quick solution to the mystery.
Yeah.
Do you want a crime number? The lack of
for the insurance, but otherwise it's made up. Yeah.
The lack of a trapping license does not mean that LaBelle did not know the region or the village. There are plenty of trappers operating illegally at the time, as well as traders and merchants operating between the villages. Kelleher may have been discredited in the past, but this alone is not sufficient to dismiss the story. He had many years of experience as a journalist, and his interest in the sensational may have been the very thing that led him to LaBelle's account. True. But that's the thing, isn't it? If you're a journalist, it's the boy who cried wolf thing.
Well, once you
caught chatting shit once.
Yeah. Can you be trusted again?
Talk shit, get slapped.
Yeah.
If these two men were telling the truth about what they saw, then an entire village disappeared and nothing was done to investigate. What were the strange lights in the sky, and where did the people go? Why were the dogs left to starve? Most chillingly of all, who had been in the empty grave? Native American myths are filled with evil creatures, cannibals, and monsters who haunt the forests and badlands of their great continent. Maybe LaBelle had just missed an encountering such a monster in the frozen wilderness of the north.
Maybe. A lot of ifs and buts, yeah.
So I've got a little bit more here. So the earliest recorded publication about the Anjikuni Lake is a 1976 citation of an article from November 29th, 1930, written by an Emmett E. Kelleher, in an article in The Bee from Danville, Virginia, later confused with the Halifax Herald newspaper.
So did it only get reported about in the 70s? I'm getting a bit confused here. It happened in the 30s.
Yeah.
And did it get reported again about in the 30s, or did it just get dug up and reported about later on?
So it was reported in a newspaper called The Bee from Danville, Virginia.
When?
In November 29th, 1930.
Okay, so there was contemporary accounts as well. No, that's fine.
So here's kind of this is in the Unsolved Mysteries wiki, and it says that the case is solved. So we'll see if we agree.
Yeah.
Dunning believed the story was invented by Frank Edwards for his 1959 book Stranger Than Science, when he could not find a copy of the original Halifax Herald newspaper article. However, researchers eventually traced it to the Bee newspaper from Danville, Virginia. This is the earliest version of the story. Although Joe LaBelle was a real person, there's been no verification of him ever coming across the real village. And the Royal Canadian Mounted Police had numerous requests for their notes on the case, but no such evidence of an investigation has been found. So I don't think that that's necessarily solved.
No.
Right, let's see what else there is. So, I mean, actually, like it doesn't feel, it feels like a mystery still to me.
Well, yeah. So sorry. Take me through that one again. How have they claimed it's been solved?
Well, I think what they're so I think what they were saying is, well, we didn't, like, the original article wasn't found or whatever, and they're saying, oh, well, actually, it was. So, but the case itself isn't. So the thing, so it was miscredited to the Halifax Herald newspaper, but they actually found the article from the 30s in the Bee newspaper, which was in Danville, Virginia.
Okay, so somebody had claimed that actually there wasn't an original 30s article; it was just made up in the 70s, and therefore there's no, it's just a made-up story afterwards. But then they found it in a different place.
Yeah. So it was just
there you go. So whether or not the original article is true, we don't know. But yeah, assuming it is, there's still that mystery, as you say.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know whether it was like one person in a tent or 5,000 people disappearing.
So
as well, if you're going to embellish it, then just say like the entirety of the San Siro disappeared or something.
The what?
I don't know, a football stadium. Or like,
the Giuseppe Meazza.
Yeah. Or
so I've got there's a couple of stories here about it, which I'll go through.
Go on then.
So in addition to all the sci-fi versions, there are also more realistic stories about it.
Okay.
So internet users found out that there was a hunting license thing, that it wasn't a professional, made it up. But at the time, many hunters didn't have licenses, so it could be true.
I can imagine it probably wasn't.
Well, you wouldn't bother, would you? Like out in the middle of fucking nowhere?
Well, who's going to check out? If you're
mounted police, you just distract them by pointing them at their own,
show them a shiny light.
Silent, yeah.
That's confusing.
So now, let's leave the snows of Canada and head for the hot plains of Indiana. Oh, India, sorry. No, I said that. Oh, no, this is a different thing. Sorry.
You're back to that story we already did around India where there was a disappearing village.
It's just about another
village. Yet another one that's disappeared in
India. It's Kuldara.
Oh, it's Kuldara again, is it? Yeah. One we already covered.
I mean, I can see here there's different like on allthat'sinteresting.com, it says despite numerous investigations, the 2,000 Inuits were never seen again.
Yeah,
so it's gone up from 25, isn't it?
Wildly, because I think probably what happened here is that there might have been a whole load of people who'd had to either escape from something, or I mean, I think probably what it is that there are a bunch of people who sort of went out and then somehow got lost and trapped in the cold or something and never came back. And then they just embellished all the other stuff. There never was an empty grave or, the dead dogs, that kind of. This is what we found with the Mary Celeste, wasn't it? So basically, most of the juicy details were actually a load of other nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm just going to read this.
And it was a fully crewed ship that came in
and. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's been debunked fully.
No, there is. And then it's quite an interesting one because it's. That would be my guess. It's like how can you explain why there's an empty grave and a load of missing dogs?
So I think all the stuff about there still being it's like with the Mary Celeste, like there was still
those are all embellishments. I suspect
people cooking and whatever, all that stuff might have been embellished. It could be that the dog's bits embellished. Someone could have just found like an abandoned village, essentially, and that can happen for many reasons.
Which they may have just migrated to go somewhere else. Doesn't even necessarily mean it was a disaster or what have you, or it could have had an accident, or So you get ghost towns and stuff all over the US, and I don't know how much it happens in Canada, but certainly it's
a big place.
Sounds like quite a small populace, exactly. So
or it could well be
if you're out in the wilderness, you might well decide to
if they're hunters and trappers, if they're hunters and trappers, it could well be that they have these little villages set up, and they go between them depending where the caribou is or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like
they live a nomadic. Not good for hunting anymore or something for whatever reason.
Or it's the wrong season, so we'll go to a place further, like 50 miles further north or whatever.
Yeah,
that's not unusual. So I'm just going to read this bit because it looks like it might be funny. So I don't know if it's not about the same story, but
go for it.
Fuck it, we've got time. It's off mysteriousstrip.com. There are tons of stories of people who mystifyingly vanished in the past. Take the unusual case of Orion Williamson. He was a farmer in Selma, Alabama. He allegedly disappeared into thin air right in front of his children, wife, and 2 neighbours while strolling across his home. The entire community started searching for him. However, he was nowhere to be found. Although the farmer's son had sworn that he'd heard his father's ghostly cries coming from the field for several weeks after his disappearance.
Fell down a well.
Huh?
Fell down a well.
Could just be a pothole or something, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Not a pothole.
Or a sinkhole or something.
Sinkhole, yeah. Or it could have been like, kind of, you get slightly misty mornings.
Yeah.
He could have just gone, right, can they still see me? Nope, right, I'm out of here.
He was doing the walking downstairs illusion behind a rock.
Just going into the basement.
Snapped his ankle.
Got eaten by a dingo.
Yeah, got eaten by a bear, and then.
So another one. There comes the case of a shoemaker, James Byrne Warson from Warwickshire, England. Or if you're
that was like it for the disappearing guy. Then that was just it.
Just something like disappeared.
Nobody figured it out.
Nope, that was it.
I didn't murder my husband. Your Honour.
Yeah,
and move in with the neighbour.
A polyamorous relationship with my neighbours.
You don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared one day.
So this is from Warwickshire, England, or if you're American, Warwickshire.
Warwickshire, yeah, brilliant.
James' predilection for boasting about his long-distance running capabilities had ultimately weakened the patience of his drinking buddies.
Oh, it's going to drive you mad, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can run 40, 50 miles.
Yes, sub 3 hour marathon. No worries.
A sub 3-minute mile. They challenged him to run 40 miles from Leamington to Coventry. Warwick took the challenge, and within an hour, the 3 of them were on their way to Jock. So boozed up. Right, run 40 miles then. Right, I will.
That is so unlike any pub conversation I've had. Might have run round to the kebab shop. If I'd run, I mean, amble very slowly. Yeah, well,
Warson gave the impression of enjoying himself. He was running at hard speed and teasing his friends until he slipped 20 feet.
Him behind 2 pubs and
gone back to the pub.
Yeah, fucking fuck off there.
So until
he in Coventry, dickhead.
So He slipped 20 feet in front of his friends, so he got ahead of them. I think the thing is like this. I'd quite happily say, all right, prove it. You do it, right? Go and run 40 miles then. I'm not running with them.
No, exactly.
Bring me proof.
Get a taxi and see you at the other end.
Yeah, well, yeah. Wise and Burns saw in morbid fear their friend falling right in front of them with a dreadful cry of trepidation and vanishing before their very eyes, very drunken eyes. Same as in the case of Williamson, Warson was never to be found.
Well, there you go. They regretted their impatience now, didn't they?
Drunk men murder loudmouth pub man.
Yeah, pub ball murdered.
So these occurrences of
this is round as well.
Huh?
This is round as well.
Yeah, I've seen a few people disappear when it's that round. Yeah. These occurrences of inexplicable vanishing are genuine, something that even witnesses find hard to explain. Hey, check out this. Unbelievable, a mystery of twin Anjikuni villages. Whatever the case may be, the fact would always be in history that during a chilly November 1930s, roughly 30 men, women and children abandoned their homes, disappearing from the earth. And this, regardless of the vocal argument of debunkers all over the world, sticking their noses in.
Skeptics.
What do you know about it, John from Gabon? The mystery of Anjikuni Lake's village disappearances still exists, and although we may never find out what happened to those poor souls, whether they were murdered or an aliens abducted them, we could all only anticipate that wherever they are, hoping for them to be in a better place. There you go, Neil. So hopefully they're in a better place.
There's an ending for you.
Yeah, didn't make a lot of sense.
No, we didn't have a lot to work with, in fairness.
No, like myself with this episode. So, Neil. So it is a mystery. It's
a bona fide mystery. Absolutely.
I thought that it had been debunked, but actually where it says solved, that actually is just solving the origin of the story. So,
okay.
Cool. Well, let's go through our scoring system.
Yes.
Let's not drag it out any further. Neil,
spookiness. Yeah, it's quite spooky. I mean, people just up and going missing is always, as you say, I mean, ones we've done in the past, generally, it's random embellishments and things like that, which I suspect is the case in this. You know, you say the press weren't necessarily regarded for their veracity in the 30s. I mean, I think you staying as contemporary media, frankly, towards ever thus. But yeah, I think the idea of people will find it, I suppose, partly between sort of intriguing and spooky, but the idea that you just suddenly vanish and something can happen. I think the unknown's quite frightening, isn't it? That's something where it's just kind of like, because then you don't, you know, a bit like with the Blair Witch Project. That's why I found that movie quite spooky, because you don't really know what's happening. They lay some things down for you. I don't find the idea of, this is why I think when they get to things like the mystery is probably more spooky than anything. It's like when they sort of talk about UFOs and stuff like that, I don't know, just takes the edge off for me. But yeah, a whole village just...
Well, it'd be weird as well, because you're in the wilderness, aren't you? And so so you're not going to find... It's not like you're walking through town and there's an abandoned building. You're in the wilderness and there's like this little town and there's...
Yeah, you imagine something bad has happened. This is where your brain goes to. And I think there's the little elements as well, like the grave being dug up and the dogs having all died of having all starved because everyone's just disappeared. Yeah, I think there's some spooky little elements. And it's not intrinsically the most spooky, but I think there's enough there. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay. So I think what makes it more spooky is, so I'm not necessarily buying into clothes half being made and all that kind of stuff. I think that's embellishment. But I mean, it doesn't, I think that the building, like to me at least, feels like they were kind of maintained. Yeah. So it wasn't like sort of like just the foundations of a building or something. It sounds like, they were functioning, and so therefore someone had kind of looked after them. And I guess if you're that far kind of in the middle of nowhere, to put that effort into kind of keeping your buildings working and stuff, then, you would think that's quite quite a lot.
You wouldn't just abandon it.
Yeah, you wouldn't just abandon it. Yeah, it's like quite a high amount of your energy and calories and stuff are used in doing it. The blue lights and stuff. I mean, it could have been a thunderstorm in the distance. Do you know what I mean? Like the thing is, like, it's all weird skies up in that neck of the woods, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Could be all sorts of atmospheric effects.
In the Arctic, it's all kind of crazy skies. The dogs being dead would be horrible to come across. I think that, if the dogs are really part of it, then that's the weird thing, isn't it? Like, why were they? It could be that the dogs got into some rancid meat or something and ate it. I don't know. But,
we don't know. Yeah,
but a whole pack of dogs going. Do you find like snowy wilderness particularly spooky? A particularly spooky kind of place to be? I'm not sure. I mean, it's threatening because of you kind of you're on the limit of survivable for humans. But I don't know if I don't really put kind of snow and paranormal together, really.
It's not the thing itself, although they did that in The Thing, which is quite a clever movie. It's quite cleverly placed in terms of the movie. But it's more the fact that when shit goes down, you're fucked. It's not that intrinsically by itself. It's a spooky environment, but it's very inhospitable. So if something goes wrong, you quickly realise how
well. And I guess because it's so
how close to death you are, sort of thing.
Yeah, you've got less.
You can't really escape. You're not getting out. It'd be like being in the middle of the desert. If you have to run away or something, that's it. There's nowhere to go.
And I guess the thing is, well, because it's wilderness, then you don't know there could be stuff there which hasn't been discovered yet. But I'm going to give it a 4-0 for me. So believability. Well, it all kind of comes down to whether you believe the newspaper report or not. I mean, I haven't seen anything. Like the bloke not having a hunting license, don't care. Right, that doesn't mean anything.
It's perfectly.
So it comes down to I don't like. It's not. So it's not some. I mean, despite the fact that people have painted a paranormal varnish on it, it's not necessarily paranormal that people would have found to the village. So that it's not inherently unbelievable. I doubt if the people who lived in the village had decided there's too many fucking trappers around here. We're going to fuck off further north or whatever. Or that's where the caribou are going now. I doubt whether it's not like they could have sent them an email to find out where they are. Do you know what I mean? Like these are people who live out in the middle of nowhere. So they could have gone way north and you would never know. No. So I'm going to give it an 8 for believability because it's not been debunked. But I'm taking 2 off because I don't trust newspapers.
Yeah, kind of
except the Guardian.
Similar logic for me, to be honest with you. It's kind of like, I mean, whether or not you believe, I mean, it could be a made-up story. Even more possible, it could be a more embellished story.
Yeah, I think
we don't know, and I suspect the level of embellishment. So I wouldn't give it a sort of 10 or whatever either. But none of the intrinsic facts we take out, some of the explanations are unbelievable. I mean, some people going missing from a village. Again, the dogs in the grave might be embellishments, might not. That makes it less believable to me, but more mysterious. But I mean, a bunch of people go missing from a village, and if it truly is 20 people or something like that, or 25.
That's a community.
It's a community-sized thing, but it's an amount where they could have all gone out together for various reasons. So even though it's mysterious, I don't think there's nothing in here that's intrinsically unbelievable. So I'll give it an 8 as well.
8, nice. Narrative premise, Neil.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these things, I mean, the human brain always wants to have an ending for things, and it wants to complete a sort of pattern. So again, you can come up with some simple explanations, but it's more satisfying to come up. I mean, this is why I think I rail against the UFO things, because it's too it's like, they will probably get annoyed about me doing a skeptic thing and going, they all could have gone off hunting somewhere else instead.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't really have any evidence for that. But the UFO is just as similar, just as pattern answer for me as well. It's, if you're looking...
It's like going angels took them.
Yeah, or God did it. If you've got that in your head, then you can always reach to that, or a wizard done it or something. It's just a quick answer to something. Whereas, Yeah, you want
if you got a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah, and this is the one thing that's kind of like, but this is the one thing where there's a problem with these things. It's a bit like things like Lost and stuff like that. When you set up a mystery box kind of thing, it's a really compelling start, but they normally don't have great endings because at some point you've got to explain something. So yeah, exactly, because it's it's very, very hard to stick the landing on a mystery and actually making it as compelling as the mystery itself. Yeah, so on that basis, I think there's definitely the elements where you set up a good story on this, but I think you would end up sort of disappointing people because it's the mystery that is the prime element. So I'm going to give it 6.5. I haven't done a half for a while now, because I do actually quite enjoy mystery box stories, but they're inevitably almost always disappointing at the end. So I think there is a good narrative premise, but I don't think you could end it very well.
So I think that you can go outside the box and have the village is actually just a front, and underneath the floorboards is a passageway. You could have a portal. Yeah. You could have a secret. US facility where you could have all sorts, couldn't you? Make it like Stranger Things, but less annoying.
Or Wayward Pines. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, no, I saw. Some of it.
Turns out they're all 3,000 years in the future or some bollocks.
Wayward Pines.
Basically, Matt Damon, I think it was, or someone. Oh no, not Matt Damon. Matt Dillon turns up in a village, and it's being haunted by monsters or something.
It's a Steven Spielberg thing, isn't it?
No, I don't know. It was like a TV show.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's Spielberg.
It might have been right. I don't know. He might have made an ambient thing or some his production company, but I doubt he touched it with a bulge bar.
I think it was probably like a short story that he did that they then made into like a 3 series.
Oh, you mean Stephen King?
Yeah. So what did I say?
It's Steven Spielberg, I think, or I missed
sorry. Yeah, no, Stephen King.
I was going to say, yeah, it could have been Stephen King. It's a similar sort of thing that he'd done, or somebody's very influenced by him. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. But yeah, I think the twist in the end, but actually, it's quite an original one. Is that I think it was like they'd all been frozen or something, and it was 2,000 years in the future or something ridiculous. So,
I think there's like a ring around the town.
Yeah, it's something like that. You can't leave because there's these monsters that are going to catch you.
Yeah,
it's something
they're
like
in the future, but they're like making
everyone. A big twist at the end of season 1.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
But if you let people know, then they'll go mad because they'll kill themselves or something.
There's like mutants outside or whatever.
Yeah, like it's just a post-apocalyptic wasteland, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have seen that. Yeah. Obviously, it didn't stick with me particularly.
It's not particularly. Like I say, it was intriguing, and then it sort of worked to the extent that they came out with a really outlandish solution. But then again, it's kind of dumb. So yeah.
Right. So I'm going to give Wayward Pines 5.5 there.
Yeah. There you go.
Lovely. So Reach. I think it's fairly well known on the internet and stuff, but I haven't really heard of it. I think it may be known a bit in Canada. It's not that old, so I'm going to give it a Reach of 4 now.
Yeah, I never heard of it. I'm not sure this one's got much of it. I mean, I've not seen anything about it didn't hear anything about like movies or TV shows or things.
Let me have a look and see if there is.
Have a quick look on Wiki to see whether it's.
There is a Wiki.
Some Canadian community theatre have done a play about it or something. It was a musical.
No. It's been on the world's great. It's been on like a couple of UFO History 2 things.
Yeah, they just go looking for anything and try and turn it into a UFO mystery, don't they? Yeah, I think it's a 3 for me. I don't think this has got much reach.
Okay, and that gives us an overall score of 45. So not too shabby. Do you know what? Like, I'm quite.
It's good that it's still a mystery. I like.
Yeah, I'm quite glad because when I read some articles, I thought it had been sort of completely debunked, but actually it turns out it hasn't. So,
I suspect there's a perfectly rational explanation, but
and it's very, very high north now. I'm having a look at where the lake is now.
Yeah, so it's more likely that all sorts of things can happen. But it's a nice little.
You know what they say about snow?
Covers up all the tracks.
It covers your tracks. Snow keeps your secrets.
Yes.
Snow knows how to keep its mouth shut. That's what they always say. So
on that terrifying note, let's hope for some snow.
Yeah. And if you want to send us email.
What nobody actually thinks about is the climate changes affecting serial killers.
I know.
Live out in snowy regions.
Well,
they're going to hide all the bodies.
Well,
think on carbon dioxide.
Well, the thing is with serial killers is that they're adaptable. So although they won't be able to use the snow's notorious tight-lippedness to do it, the grounds will be easier to dig. So
that's true. Yeah.
They'll just do what the rest of us do and bury them.
Concrete. Yeah, that's urban.
That's what our urban tactics are.
Yeah.
So if you want to email us, it's urbane.legends.pod@gmail.com. We're on.
Got any ideas about hiding corpses?
Hiding bodies, it'd be great. We've got the Twitter, which is Legends Urbane. And leave a comment on whatever. You're not going to do any of this, but I'll keep saying it in case one day someone mistakenly catches this plea for attention. But that's it for this week. I hope you have a nice time and whatever. And I'll see you next Thursday. Goodbye.
Goodbye.